The United States remains the world's largest arms exporter. Between 2021 and 2025, its share of global major arms exports, including combat aircraft and missile systems, rose to 42%. That's more than Russia, China, and the European Union combined, according to data from the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute. But the war with Iran has strained U.S. stockpiles, leading to delays in weapons deliveries. Kate Fisher has more for CNA from Washington.
Polish Air Force pilots take flight in the American-made F-35A Lightning II jets for the first time as they train under the U.S. Foreign Military Sales, or FMS, program. Poland received its first 3 of these stealth fighter jets in May, with 29 more due before the end of the decade. But reports say that Washington has warned allies, including Poland, to expect long delays to their weapons orders as it scrambles to replenish stockpiles depleted by the Iran war. In April, when asked before a Senate committee how long it would take the U.S. to rebuild its weapons reserves, the Secretary of Defense acknowledged it could be some time.
Okay, how many years to replenish? That's the question.
I think that's exactly the right question, too, Senator, because the time frame we were existing under was unacceptable.
Okay, well,
and
tell
what this
me.
budget does, months and years.
Weeks later, acting U.S. Navy Secretary Hung Cao said the Pentagon had paused a proposed $14 billion arms package for Taiwan to ensure the U.S. military had sufficient munitions for the Iran war.
Right now, we're doing a pause in order to make sure we have the munitions we need for Epic Fury, which we have plenty, but we're just making sure we have everything. But then the foreign military sales will continue when the administration deems necessary, sir.
Then in Singapore last month at the Shangri-La Dialogue, Secretary Hegseth tried to reassure policymakers that the U.S. had plenty of weapons, even should it decide to restart strikes on Iran.
Well, our stockpiles are more than suited for that, both there and around the globe. And we're in a very, very strong position and feel only better about where we're going in the future. Any decision about future Taiwan arms sales, as the president said, will rest with him.
Media reports suggest deliveries to other partners, including Japan, the UK, Norway, Estonia, Lithuania and Switzerland, have also been delayed.
There's a brewing question over how much you can depend on the U.S. and their defense industrial base. The U.S. is pushing, especially European allies and partners, to sort of ramp up investment and sort of the production within their own country. But hey, at the same time, you need to keep investing in the U.S. But here's the tricky part. The FMS process, foreign military sales, isn't clear. So if they are investing in, hypothetically, a PAC-3 or a Tomahawk, and they think it's going to take 3 years, but suddenly there's a political question, and they get pushed to the back of the line even further, they can't depend on that.
The U.S. has launched more than 1,000 Tomahawk missiles in its war with Iran, according to the Center for Strategic and International Studies. The think tank warned it could take 4 or 5 years for the U.S. to return to pre-war inventory levels.
Certainly Patriot and perhaps to some extent THAAD are probably the top 2. There have also been depletions of Tomahawk inventory. We sell to some, like Japan. I think there might be consideration of a delay there. Navy Standard missiles also can be depleted, and I think there have been concerns there too. So that's yet a third, or a family of weapons within the Standard missile category for the Navy, since we've used so many of those in the Persian Gulf, and they could be relevant to allies, for example, in the Indo-Pacific.
There are concerns that depleted U.S. stockpiles could weaken deterrence, potentially emboldening rivals like China or Russia.
There is a greater lack of complete confidence and assuredness among American allies that we would be there for them. But is it really so serious of a problem that a would-be aggressor is going to decide this is the moment to attack the United States and or some of its closest friends? You know, any reduction in deterrence is a bad idea, so we should be concerned about this issue and we should ramp up production. But the idea that we're on the verge of war because of it, I reject.
The Trump administration says it is pursuing plans to increase the production of 14 of what it calls critical munitions over the coming years. These include Tomahawk cruise missiles and Patriot interceptors. But production will take time, and many of those weapons are already on backorder from allies and partners around the world, forcing some allies to reconsider how much they can rely on US weapons supplies in a crisis. Kate Fisher for CNA in Washington.